G'day Eagles fans, welcome to Ask Simmo, presented by ECU, your chance to ask questions each week of our coach, the most popular segment in football in the country. Simmo, question comes straight from Dominic Ianello on Facebook. He says, do you bring back into the team a tagger or a cooler type like Mark Hutchison to help nullify the impact of big name players like we saw on the weekend, Marcus Bontempelli?
That's a good question. I mean, Hutch is not available at the moment. Having said that, we actually tried to do something where we put Jackson Nelson to go at it, and it worked for a small part of the game. The third quarter, I think we kept him pretty quiet. He's a big game player, Bont, and he stood up in that last quarter, and it's quite difficult to stop. So, yeah, it's definitely something we talk about. Stopping those, really good, classy players is difficult, and unfortunately, he was their best player on the weekend.
Can we get an update on Mark Hutchins? Whereabouts is he?
I think he's pretty close to playing. Yeah, he's not far off playing this week or maybe next week. So. Fingers crossed we get him back in the next couple of weeks.
Absolutely. Stephen Goff on Twitter says, why do we go away from the possession kick mark style game when we play against fast running teams like the Bulldogs? He says, we did it last year and got pumped and jumped and reverted back, went home and won 8 in a row.
Not as simple as that. It's a good question, and sometimes it looks like we're not trying to control the ball, but a balance of both is good for us. We couldn't get our hands on it on the weekend. In the first half, we got beaten up around the ball in the contest. So the last thing you want to do is try and attack from your back half. You want to get some good clearances, defend behind your entries and get some deep entries, that type of football. And we spent a lot of time defending from too deep. So I thought we got our game going as the game went, though. I thought we used the ball better as the game went. Good
question, Steve. Thank you. Johnny Lipscomb on Facebook. What kind of treatment did you, the coach, give Cripper? Support and move on, or did you give him a verbal or a mix of both? #curious.
Nothing yet. I haven't seen him, so I'm building up to that tomorrow. I thought we missed little moments in the game, but when you reflect on footy, there's always moments in time where you go, geez, coulda, woulda, shoulda. We just seemed to have 4 or 5, a smothered kick. We probably had 5 for the game. Missed opportunities throughout the day. They did miss some set shots as well, so. Yeah, but it did look like there's a few, small chances we missed.
Chris Barlow on Facebook says, Simmo, what do you see as the biggest challenge for the boys to overcome next week against a very powerful Port Adelaide?
Yeah, well, we probably see them as the best team in the comp at the moment, and I think the Bulldogs are going to be right up there as well. So they're a lot of belief, and they're really dangerous when there's evidence behind that belief. So they got the combo. Their attacking side, a bit like the Bulldogs. I think they're third for handballs, but they use the ball a little bit differently by foot. And they're really strong in the contest, so it's going to be a huge challenge for us. We can't wait though, looking forward to playing.
Going to be absolutely massive. The next question comes from Jesse Sutton on Twitter. Question on Luke Shuey, and this is not about the current form of the team. How is his progression in the role since becoming captain as he enters his second year, and what brand does he stamp on that role?
Yeah, leadership's an interesting one. You don't want to be anything different before or after you become the official captain. So he's just himself. So nothing's changed with how Luke leads. The best leaders care the most, and he definitely cares about the club. He cares about supporters. He cares about his family. Like he's a carer. We're just got to get him on the track. I think he'll play this week. I think he's looking good.
That is great news for Eagles fans. Also on the Kelly Manuel is on Facebook, and thank you, Kelly. Asks, how are the boys and you feeling today after your first away game in Melbourne at the weekend? It's a feeling of returning to normal, and of course it was well over 530 odd days before you played a game then.
It was so good to go to Melbourne. I went to the footy the night before and watched the Saints Melbourne game, and just the supporters, few drunk ones at the back.
A lot of emotion in that game.
It was just emotion, full stop, and I think we've all missed that as players as well as coaches. So we got to live that on the weekend in Victoria. The flight wasn't any less on the way back, and when you lose like that, it's a long flight. I sneak in a little glass of red on the way back. I might have snuck in 2. And then when you wake up this morning, you're a little bit fatigued, and for that split second where you don't know what happened. And then you realise what happened. So I'm still working through the day.
Get over it, mate. You'll be all right. Stefan on Twitter asks, Simmo, how did you assess the kick-in defensive tactics from the Dogs? It seems as though they gave you a lot of space, but we still went long to contest and got beaten on occasions if we couldn't get a contested mark. That's a big assessment there on Twitter.
Yeah. Look, kick-ins they're new this year for the distance you travel from a kick-in. So I think we averaged around 94 metres per kick-in. Which would have ranked us number 1 by a mile last year. I think we're 4th. It ranks us top 4. So I think we kicked 2 goals from our kick-ins and 2 goals too maybe. So we'll take that any day of the week. So it's not really a scoring avenue for most clubs, but it has changed. On average, I reckon teams are getting 25 metres further on their kick-ins, and a lot of them are going along to a contest. You win that one contest and you're out the back. You lose it, you can probably defend behind it a bit better. So yeah, that's changed this year with the new rule.
Shannon Hearn might have a 3-year contract extension.
Yeah, well, the way he's playing, he's turned the clock back, Shannon. He's looking really good.
He certainly is. And finally, our question of the week, thanks to ECU, where the winner receives a team store voucher. Lots of great merch here at our Super Team store. And our winner this week is WC Karras on Twitter, and asks, Nick played more minutes in this game against the Dogs than against the Suns. Was that because you needed him more in the last quarter, or are his minutes being increased as the season goes on?
First of all, I probably don't think you should judge the question of the week. That probably should be, that should be me. Is that
Back of house selected it? Don't shoot the messenger, mate.
I don't know his.
Do you like the question, first of all?
Yeah, it's in the top 5. The question about Nick's game minutes, sometimes we'll look at the game and quite often we'll back end his time so we can get more out of him in the second half. Sometimes he gets stuck on the ground, sometimes Vards get stuck on the ground, so it's around the same most weeks, but gradually he'll increase his game time. Strangely enough, the stoppages, total stoppages is the same this year as it was last year, yet the game's probably 25 minutes longer, so there's less stoppages.
Thanks, Adam. I don't know if you've got the award or not, WC Karras.
Take it this week.
Take it this week from the team store. Thank you very much. Thanks for sending in all your questions. Now ECU is giving you the fans a chance to win tickets to the Field Club, and all you've got to do is log into the West Coast Eagles app and look for the Roll with Rick app card for all the details on how to score some of the best seats in the house at Optus Stadium. This has been Simmo. Thanks to ECU.